You guys say it's actually 8 minutes behind. So even without refraction, if you did disprove refraction somehow, I don't know how you do that all the way to the sun, but thing is a falsifiable claim.
Are you talking about the 8 minutes of time it takes for the light to reach your eyes?
Bro, if me and you were looking at the sky and we see the sun somewhere and you say no, the sun's not where we see it, it's actually over there, and you point to a different spot, how would we falsify that?
I really wouldn't be pointing in a different spot because I'd just be pointing at the sun, just not at the center of it.
Yeah, you'd say, okay, the center of the sun is actually at this other spot I'm pointing to. How would we falsify that?
One thing would be to disprove refraction. The other thing would be to disprove the speed of light.
It's a just trust me, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you realize this was a Glober that told me this, that it's an unfalsifiable claim, right? I mean,
I don't care.
this wasn't one of my guys. I wouldn't even be.
I don't
I'm
care.
just letting you know. Like, okay. I don't think that falsifies it, but I mean, if you think that falsifies it, that's fine. I mean, what if the light's bending for some other? What if the light's bending for some other reason other than refraction?
Am I claiming it's bending for some other reason?
No, you're just claiming that it's not here, it's here. And by disproving refractions, if we found out refraction wasn't a thing, that doesn't mean that it's still not where you pointed to it at, because the light could be bending for some other reason.
Isn't there an issue too with the position of the sun as related to the shadows? Like if the sun was really in a different position, wouldn't the shadows reflect that? The shadows on the ground, which are very, very consistent, and the shadows line up. You can use a sundial to measure time. So if the sun was not in its position, wouldn't that throw all the shadows on the ground off?
Are those apparent shadows?
I don't even understand how you think that would work.
That sounded pretty straightforward to me, but in regards to
even if if the shadows were in the wrong place, but we're still basing our time on the shadows, then it's irrelevant if the shadows are in the wrong place. We're just basing it on the wrong place.
Are they in the wrong place or not?
That statement doesn't make sense. They're not in the wrong place. No.
So the sun is right where it should be.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, yes, light does take time to travel to meet where it is. So even though the shadow is like showing it where it is right now, like, yes, 8 minutes later, that's where the shadow would be, like for where that sun would be, because that's how long the light takes to travel there. And now as far as refraction goes, like, yeah, the light is traveling in that thing. So like the source of the light can still be traced back to the original source if you use the laws of refraction. So no, they're not in the wrong place.
When you say laws of refraction, do you mean like Snell's law?
I don't know if there's an actual law of refraction. I'm not like about that. I'm just trying to say like we do know how refraction works. So.
Well, you're the one that said laws of refraction, so it's
yeah, I get it.
So do you
So let me
agree?
just get Wesley's
If there's
take on
any
this.
laws
This guy
that are
kinda
related
jumped
to
in.
refraction, and that's how refraction works, then yes, there are laws to refraction. Whether or not there's an actual thing that's called a law of refraction, I don't know. I don't like obsess over like little semantic games like that.
Jeremy,
take on this.
I don't think Wesley's still. Hold on, I don't think he's still on the panel. I think he left. Wesley did so.
All right.
You'll have to catch him next time. But the thing about the shadows in the sun, like for example, this could actually falsify the whole claim of the Selenelian that the sun is in a refracted position for the globe kind of ad hoc requirement they have for the Selenelian explanation on why that happens on a globe Earth. Because if you can actually validate that the shadows are actually aligned with the sun in the actual position it's in, and the sun is not in an actual different position based on the shadows, then it would show that the sun is not in a refracted position, that it's in its real position, thus falsifying the explanation of selenelian for the globe model. But you'd have to take like very accurate measurements of shadows. But that would actually be interesting
No,
to
I
do
hear you,
because
but sorry, go ahead.
no, just if they're claiming the sun is like showing up in a different position, but then the shadows don't reflect that, that would be a mismatch. But yeah, go ahead.
I
I
mean,
hear you.
oh,
You heard me and Matthew last night, so I'm just trying to like suss that out. Where he thinks that's an unfalsifiable claim. I'd like to hear what the other Globers have to think on that.
well, since we are talking about shadows, can anyone explain to me the shadow being on top of the cloud and the sunlight hitting the bottom of it in the picture I just posted?
Yeah, that light scatters in all directions.
If it scatters in all
Lyle?
directions, why isn't the light hitting the top of it?
What? What do you
What?
mean? How do you see it if you're saying there's no light hitting the top of it, so you can't see it?
Can you actually just like address like the picture and not like do the straw man of like the fact that we can see the shadow just means like yes, hit that, which is how we can see that. Like yes, we all know like what we can see is light reaching our eyes. You're not explaining how the light from the sun is like being more directly on the bottom of the cloud versus the top of the cloud. So
I'm
like
actually
actually address.
interested in I'm interested in Geo's idea because I feel like that would be a good one for the selenilian, right? Don't you agree?
Yeah, okay. Run away from the question.
Well, no, I mean I think it's a silly question, honestly. With you're
You
saying
would.
18 after the hour, you said there's a shadow on the clouds, but no light on the top of the cloud.
No, there's
No,
just
I didn't
far
say that.
less light. It's like not direct
I
light.
said the
Direct
shadow is
light's
on the
hitting the
top of the cloud.
bottom.
I didn't say there's no light.
Yeah, so is your claim that you believe the sun is below that cloud in like if you drew a line?
I'm claiming that the angle from the light of the sun is coming, yes, from below the cloud. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
So then you're saying the sun is below 10,000 feet high, right? From that point, in free space.
Yes, if you were to take a horizontal plane from that cloud and like bring it to the sun, then yes, it would be above it because Earth is spherical.
Okay, yeah, the issue with that is the size of the sun.
Explain. What's the size of the sun? You said the
Wait,
issue is the size
that,
of the
that
sun, so you
yeah,
must know
yeah,
the size of the sun. So what is it?
no, in your model, the sun is so
Nope,
big
nope.
that if you were to draw a straight line to it, like what you're saying, we're only in like the one ray of the sun. You know, the sun puts off light in all directions. So for you to make the claim that that cloud, if you were to draw a line straight out from that cloud, it wouldn't in the direction of the sun, it wouldn't hit the sun. I don't think you're taking into consideration the size of the sun. It would most certainly hit the sun.
How do you know that?
Just because of what your model claims the size of the sun is. If I draw a straight line from that cloud out, I would hit the sun, dude. Just like if you drew a straight line from the bottom of that cloud out, it would hit the sun, right? So you're not saying if I drew a line at the top of that cloud versus a line at the bottom, one would miss the sun and the other would hit the sun. Is that what you're saying?
I made it clear what I said. Now, like, it's for you to say, like, because you made the claim, like, well, no, that's not the case. Like, it would definitely hit the sun. Like, how do you know that?
Because the size of the sun. Do you agree the sun is huge? Way bigger than the earth?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree that that side of the earth is within the
Do you
sunlight?
agree? Do you agree?
I'm asking you, I'm doing a cross exam so you could see why your position is kind of flawed here. Okay. Do you agree that the whole entire side of the Earth, right, that you're talking about there is all getting hit by sunlight?
Well, I don't even know what you mean by the side of the Earth there.
The part that's lit up.
The bottom of the cloud?
Yeah, it's light there, right, where the people are underneath the cloud. And the light
It's
comes in
light
pair.
there where the people are underneath the cloud. Okay.
Yeah, and now light rays come in parallel, right, from the sun.
First, like for all intents, it's like exactly parallel, but for all intents purposes, yes, called parallel.
Okay, so if I draw a straight line from anywhere where it's lit up, it'll ultimately lead back to the sun, right?
No,
Oh, okay. They were saying the tops of the clouds is
I'm
so
saying
high.
like for the cloud, bottom of the cloud, you'd have to have an angle pointed down towards the sun. The sun. If you don't have it pointed down, the sun, you'd go above it.
Okay, but the bottom of the cloud, you could just draw a straight line to the sun, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
you got to listen to what I say.
But then the light isn't coming in parallel because it's not a straight line.
That's not what I said. All right. If you don't want to actually like engage with me honestly, then I guess we drop it.
I mean, we can ask Matthew, we can ask another Glober if they agree with you. I mean, you're saying the bottom of the cloud has a direct line of sight to the
Sure.
sun, but the top of the cloud doesn't have a direct line of sight to the sun, correct?
Yes, but I'm not saying that the horizontal line that you would make from the bottom of the cloud with like with level to earth would ever reach the sun. I'm saying you would have to be pointed down at a slight angle. That's my claim. Relative to the earth. Prove me wrong.
Oh, okay. So in this scenario, the sun rays are coming in horizontal, not vertically.
Does this happen during the sunset? Yes.
The light comes in horizontally, not vertically.
Yes.
Okay.
You're done.
That was your rebuttal?
You're saying the light that comes from above, from the
Yeah.
sun, is coming in horizontally. Is that correct?
Yes, because we
Did I
live on a
get what you
sphere. Very
just
good. Very good.
said
You're
yes
starting to
to?
understand. Yes, we live on a sphere. Very good.
Wow.
I don't understand. You guys say the horizon is
Yeah,
horizontal from us and the
we
sun is on
understand.
the horizon, but you're trying to say, oh my God, you're trying to say the light's coming in horizontal, even though it's on the horizon, which is horizon from us, it's horizontal from us. And you're saying, oh my God, you're such an idiot for saying the light is coming in horizontally?
I think the
How
light
stupid
comes
for a
down.
flat earther to say?
I think the light comes down from
Even
the sun
when the
to
sun's on the horizon,
yeah, it's coming
you think the
down.
light when the sun is on the horizon, it's coming down vertically. The horizon is vertical.
No, the light from the sun is coming down from above. So I wouldn't describe that as horizontal
When it's
because I would
on the
describe
horizon.
yeah, it's coming down from above. Yep, when it's on the horizon. That's
When the
right.
sun is on the horizon, it's coming down from above. When the sun
Correct.
is on the horizon. So the horizon is above us.
The horizon is above you? No, the horizon is an apparent location where the sky meets the ground. It's not an actual physical location.
Okay, but if the sun is on the same line of axis as the horizon, how is the light coming from above? Unless you're
I don't
saying
know
the
if you know
horizon
that.
is above you.
I don't know if you know this, but the sun doesn't like actually go into the water of the earth. It
Do you know
stays
that
Yes,
above.
I'm aware.
Okay, so do you
It goes
agree that
behind the water?
so it stays above the earth the whole time, right? So the light is coming down in reference to the
It
earth.
depends on your reference frame. If you're like, for example, if you're on like the equator and it's solar noon, then it's going to be directly above you. But if you go like a certain distance away from you, then eventually this and it's no longer coming above you. It's coming from the horizon, therefore not above you.
Do you
Unless you
agree
want to
the
say
light
that the
rays?
horizon's above you
No,
now.
do you agree the light rays are coming in parallel at solar noon and at sunset, or not?
Yes, but because the Earth is a sphere, it changes the angle for depending on your reference frame because Earth is spherical. Thank you for proving
That's
the Earth
that's
is round.
that's an affirming the consequent.
I'm glad you proved the Earth is round because obviously, otherwise, they would always be coming down vertically and it would never be coming from the horizon. Thank you for proving the Earth is round.
No, what you did was Earth is round, therefore at solar noon it would come straight down, and at sunset it would come in horizontally. It comes in straight down at solar
Do you
noon.
want to just
Comes
take back
in
what you say when
horizontally.
you say horizon's
There,
above us? Do you want to just take it back? It's okay. You can just take it back.
please don't interrupt me when I'm walking you through where you mixed up the P's and the Q's. Okay. You concluded with your starting
Is there
thing. If the Earth is round, then this and this and this and this happens. Therefore, the Earth is round. That's an affirming the consequent.
No, it came to that after the fact that you said when the sun is on the horizon, it's still coming down above us, vertically down to your eyes. And yet somehow, for some reason, you guys claim the horizon is horizontal away from you, and yet the sun is on the horizon, and yet now somehow the sun is still above you. It's weird how that works.
I don't think
With
the
your
horizon is
frame
a
of reference.
dude. I don't think the horizon is a physical location. I made that clear to you. I don't know why you keep on making my argument out to mean the horizon is a physical location, but I'm not saying that.
Does the sun ever
Also,
appear on the horizon?
the sun is actually below you about half the time, maybe a little bit less than.
Yeah,
Oh,
in
there we
that
go. That was
model.
Tor, does the
Matthew
sun?
Learns. Hold on now. All right,
Tor,
go
does
ahead.
the
Finish
sun?
this up.
Yeah, Tor, does the sun ever appear on the horizon?
Sure, yeah, sure. It appears that way. Doesn't mean it's
Okay,
actually
when the
on
sun
the
appears,
horizon.
Matthew, don't go anywhere.
that way, are you telling me that it still appears vertically coming down, or does it appear horizontally coming at you, the light?
I think that the light at all times of the day looks like it diverges in every direction.
So you have no idea where the light comes from. It comes from every
What an
direction, according to
absurd
you.
thing to
Comes from
say.
the sun and it goes out in every direction. Yeah, that's what I think.
I'll let someone else take over because he's just
And the sun
flailing.
is always above you.
Guys are
Never.
ridiculous.
No
Are you
limit.
guys?
Go
I
ahead,
mean, I
Matt.
have something on the sun. It's just related to the last thing we were talking about. So,
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, can I just say briefly, just on the end of that? I mean, if the sun does emit light in a radial fashion, whatever it is, whether it's spherical or otherwise, either way, it does seem to emit light in a radial fashion. So if it's setting over a planar surface, everything is going to converge at the horizon as things move away from you. And if you have like some local clouds in your local region, but the sun is very far away, because you can like something that will lower due to perspective, even like an airplane that you know is not lowering in altitude will do that as well, etc. Like I don't I don't think anyone's really contesting that perspective is a thing in terms of how things fall as appear to drop in like apparent altitude, even though they're not dropping in actual altitude. So if you have like some local clouds in your local region and that sun, which when it's setting, you're looking like almost horizontal at it by the time it's setting. And if that light is emitting radially, the angle is going to be so low at that point compared to your point of view that even though technically the sun would be above those clouds, because of the radial effect of the sun and the fact that it's like virtually horizontal by the time it's setting, that light can be, it's coming from the sun to your eye in an almost horizontal. So that light is already doing that. And if it's radial and it's going to be going up to the sky all around, and if there's local clouds, it definitely could light the bottom of those clouds over a planar surface because of the angle.
Good perspective.
Yeah.
Good perspective. And that's I don't think he was taking that into account at all. By the way, Torah was, but non-flat earthers are funny. But Jeremy, you
Wait,
had
right.
something.
I don't
Hold on,
understand that.
Jeremy has something.
I
Jeremy,
think most time the globe is just an incredulous position. They just a lot of times they'll tell us, "Well, I just don't understand what you mean." When you say that, Geo. So it's like
You know what I'm saying? That's not
we
something
could
that you could
we could
like
draw a
ever replicate.
diagram or something.
That's what I'm saying. I need like a diagram because if you got a light source and it's high above like your head, like we say the sun is, y'all say the sun is. I'm just gonna make up a number here because I know y'all don't give a specific number. But let's just say the sun is 2,000 miles up. Okay, cool. Now, if as it moves away, 2,000 miles up, how is the rays that are always going to be coming from 2,000 miles up suddenly only hitting the bottom of something but not the top just
yeah,
because it's far away? That's
you
the
could
part
you
that
could
I don't
actually
get.
replicate. You could replicate this. I actually did this with my daughter. I put my hand above my head, and I told her put the light way above her head and walk back. She kept walking back until I saw the light of my flashlight hit the bottom of my hand. But her hand never left my height. My hand never left a certain height, and her hand never left that other height that she had. Was the light was above my hand, and
But it
yet
didn't
the
hit the
light
top.
it hit the bottom of my hand.
It didn't hit the.
Yeah,
But
because you're getting.
was the top hit too?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we've made a
Okay, that's what
light
I'm saying.
disappear.
So that's what
We've
I'm
made
saying.
a light disappear that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, I'm just saying you want to make a light appear in a different spot or hit a different spot. We made a light disappear. An actual light just disappeared. So, I mean, I don't know what you think can't be done with a light.
No, I ain't saying you can't make the light disappear. I'm sure you can. What I'm talking about is like back to I don't know who was talking before you, but back to what the dude was saying with his daughter. Like, I'm not saying that you can't take a flashlight, move back, and it'll light the bottom of your hand. That's not what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
but the light is
But it's going
the
to
light
hit
is
the
over my hand.
right,
The light is way over my hand.
right.
So
But you go far enough back, and it's shooting light in all directions. But the top of your hand was still lit,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
So is
Right.
the
I'm
cloud,
talking
dude.
about.
So it's the
I'm
So
cloud.
talking about.
yeah, what do you think what do you think is casting the shadow? You think it's the Earth or the cloud?
No, listen to what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
think you
what
missing my
what
point.
is casting the shadow, Carl? It's a very simple question.
The cloud's casting the shadow. That's my point. Listen to what I'm telling you. It's gonna cast a shadow because it's getting hit by the light. So of course it's gonna cast a shadow. But listen to what I'm saying. The glare from the sun is hitting the bottom of the clouds, not hitting the top.
And those clouds
That
looks
that
like they're
that
like
that
that.
wouldn't be possible if it was above it. Like if the example the guy was talking about earlier when his daughter was walking back, if the flashlight was above his hand, then it wouldn't be a glare from the flashlight underneath his hand and not on the top.
So that would require, right, that at sunset you can get the shadow of Earth to come upon buildings and stuff, right?
The shadow of Earth. You talking about
Yeah.
nighttime?
That's what nighttime is, right? The shadow of
Yeah.
Earth.
You talking
And
about nighttime when
by the way,
when the Earth is blocking the sun and you can't see it?
Yeah,
and by
like
the
you
way,
understand.
those clouds look like they're like those dark clouds. You know those like rain clouds.
Yeah, rain clouds. What about 'em?
That's what it look like they are. So they even with sun shining straight at from 12 o'clock noon, they usually show a little bit darkness.
But
So
what about like an airplane? We seen it with airplanes too. The bottom of the airplane is lit up, not the top.
Dude, the light source is all the way over there, and the side of the
Yep.
cloud that you're saying is in shade is faced away from the light source. That's very normal. Everyone would expect that. That is not like something that's exclusive to a
Oh,
globe.
we're talking about top and bottom, not front and back.
Well, do you see his picture after 18 after? Did you see it? It's front and back that he's talking about, bro. It's not top and bottom.
No, that's top and
No,
bottom, dude. Look, the bottom of
it's
the
definitely
clouds.
top and bottom. It's definitely
Yeah,
top and bottom.
Just
the
go to the
bottom of the
right of
clouds
the
lit.
picture and it's not lit up on the bottom. And why are all the clouds on the left and right not lit up on the bottom?
They are.
At the bottom of the screen, at the bottom, if you zoom in to where the sun is, there ain't no light hitting the cloud on the left on the bottom. Not like it's hitting it in the one close to you.
yeah, it's only the one you notice is the one that's close to you, not all the other ones.
I see the light hitting the one all the way in the back on the bottom.
On the left, on the bottom, you need me to circle it for you or something?
He's talking about like the top
Maybe
right,
I'm
like
crazy.
that
No,
part of
don't
the
circle
cloud
it.
being blocked.
Don't circle it,
But like,
Torah. Sphere it, Torah.
Yeah, I got a spirit. You know, I kind of want to hear Jeremy's question to Matthew Learns, though. Honestly,
Yeah,
this is kind of just
same.
silly. You guys are getting in the shadow.
Only if you sphere it. Only if you sphere it, dude. That's the only
Yeah,
way.
How do I draw a circle and then draw a cross in the
That ain't.
middle? Does that count as a sphere?
I don't know, but that's not gonna go away anytime soon. Matthew, are you there?
Yep.
So Matthew, me and you are pointing at the sun. We say we see the sun here. Then one of us points at a different spot and says the sun's actually here. That's an unfalsifiable claim, right?
Right. I don't see any reason for it, but it's not falsifiable because you're talking about where it actually is. The thing that is clear is where the apparent position is. I can't argue about that.
But we could argue. But the thing when somebody points and says, no, the sun's not here. It's actually in this other spot I'm pointing to. That is unfalsifiable, right?
Right.
Because I'm starting to ask Lobers, and I've only asked one so far, but he's not that high ranked either. But you know what I'm saying? I had to deal with what I had to deal with. So, but he says that is falsifiable. What would you say to that?
Well, I'd be open to hear how he thinks it's falsifiable, but if you're just making a claim about an explanation of something, observations are clear, but your explanation of it is unfalsifiable.
No, when the guy points at the spot and says, "No, the sun's actually here," that's the real spot it's at. That's unfalsifiable, right?
All right.
I said
Yeah.
he can falsify refraction and the speed of light.
You think
Right. I
that's it,
mean,
Matt?
if you that's when you start coming up with an explanations, you could argue against those explanations. But if you're just making raw claims, I don't see why you would say it's falsifiable.
He just told you refraction. He could debunk refraction. So say we
Refraction is an explanation.
So you're sticking with your guns. We can't falsify this shit. This guy's wrong, telling me it's falsifiable.
If somebody goes outside and you see the sun in one spot and you point to some completely other spot and say this, no, actually the sun's over there, that's just sort of a raw claim. I don't see how you would back that up, and I don't know how you'd falsify it or show that it's true.
It's unfalsifiable. I hear you. There you go. All right, I'm
no,
going
you
to
just
start taking a poll. I'm going to start
you
taking a
just
poll,
dismiss it.
Matthew. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I don't care if you're at the top.
Of course, generally things are where they appear to be, right? If you look at your car is there. You look at the sun, I don't see any good reason for thinking it's not there.
Exactly. You could dismiss the claim. And that's the thing. Like I think y'all use apparent wrong. When y'all say, "Oh, we see the apparent sun," and then you kind of
Right.
like equate it to when we say the apparent sun. So like if I point at the sun, I say the sun's right there. It's like it's in that direction. It's like right over
Yeah.
there.
It's
Yeah. So I'd say
unfalsifiable though
Actually right
to
there.
say for if you say it's there, but it's actually a little lower than that or something. That's unfalsifiable, right? You'd agree?
I would
I mean,
say
yeah, because
that
we can't go to the sun.
yeah, the apparent position of the sun generally matches the actual position of the sun. But there are some explanations that explain why it might appear up to half a degree different than that. And I think that those reasons are plausible.
But like in the selenilian, it's really apparent, right?
Yeah, in the selenilian, that's would happen if the sun is setting and the moon is rising, or vice versa during the middle of a total eclipse, and that could happen if there's a little bit of refraction on both the sun and the moon.
But then didn't you just say you can't falsify it if someone says the sun's in a different spot? So wouldn't that apply for that you
Right,
can't
right.
falsify it? It's just sort of like a explanation that can't be
Yeah,
falsified.
it's an explanation. So we Globers have a perfectly serviceable and plausible explanation for the selenilian eclipse.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we
96%
do. I
of the
just
reason
explained it.
96% of the reason it's occurring, you have no idea what it is.
Where'd you get 96? What's that?
Why is the Earth a globe?
Okay, here we go.
Because what do you mean? We were explaining why if the Earth is a globe, then we have a good explanation. That's what I was saying.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
If the Earth
I
is a
just
globe, you
explained
have
it.
to accept all aspects of the paradigm, correct?
Bingo. You
Uh-huh.
have to accept that the Earth is a globe if you're going to use the globe
Yes. So
as an
then I have to
explanation.
accept that space-time is bending it into its shape, right? The reason why
Well,
it's a globe.
you could no, you
No,
could
no,
ignore space
now
time
we
and go
could
back
cherry pick
400
stuff.
years.
No, if you're saying if the Earth is a globe, that comes with a bunch of entailments. You disagree?
Yep.
So mainstream science has lots of different ideas and things. You don't have to include everything about mainstream science, just the part that's relevant to the question. So the bending and warping of space-time is not relevant in this case. The idea that evolution happened is not relevant to this. Not all of mainstream science is relevant.
Okay, so you can cherry pick the thing that made the Earth the thing that it is. And you can just say,
Yeah,
we don't
yes.
have to worry about the thing that made the Earth the way that it is. So I can be a glober and not believe in Newtonian or Einsteinian gravity.
Well,
Yep.
no, I would say something like you can be a glober and not believe in natural selection for evolution. I'm saying that
Okay,
there are some things
okay.
that you have to pick and choose.
Yeah, but what about the one that I just laid out? Can I decide I don't want to either of those and still be a glober?
Yeah.
If you had some third kind of gravitation, I suppose, but both
Okay,
of
so yeah,
those are useful.
gravitation is necessary to make the claim, right? If you're going to say if the Earth is a globe, gravitation is a necessary entailment of that, right?
No, Galileo believed the Earth was a globe, but he had no idea about gravitation.
I mean, you could do
Like for
modified
hundreds of years.
Newtonian. Yeah, you could do like modified Newtonian dynamics or something. Maybe I don't know. I'm sure there's something else out there.
Yeah,
One
so
more thing.
gravitation helps describe the how, but not the what. So for hundreds of years before Newton, plenty of people believed the Earth was a globe, even though they didn't have some detailed explanation of how like we do now.
All right, check it. I talked to another Glober.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, they explain it due to refraction, but refraction only like increases the apparent height of the sun and the moon like slightly. But yet they're both fully seen. Like they're
Yeah,
both
about half a
fully
degree.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're both fully
that's
observed.
that's amazing that the terrestrial or the astronomical refraction for the sun and the moon happen to be the exact same, even though they're totally different distances and different brightnesses.
Yeah, we're looking through the same
They're gonna
amount of
say it's
atmosphere in
because the
both cases.
atmosphere is
Yeah, but you agree they're both
That's when they say
refracting
during
at
the
different
during
rates, right?
sunset. But they're both.
Torah, in both cases, we're looking through the same atmosphere, whether it's the sun on the horizon or the moon on the horizon. It's the same dynamic, same atmosphere.
The same
They
angle
happen
of
to be the
incidence.
same size in the sky too. They happen to be
I think, yeah,
like one of them's 400 times bigger and one of them's 400 times further away. The sun.
yeah.
So
That's by design. That's by design that they were meant to be looking the same size in the sky. About.
Yeah,
so you
but
acknowledge
you're
the design.
yeah, no, definitely. Matthew Learns does. And my question is, so your claim is that they're both coming in at the same angle of incidence regardless of the distance and the size.
Yeah, so we're talking about the angle, not the distance.
Can you name one other planet that even has such a phenomenon?
In our solar system, the moon and the Earth ratio is the largest moon to planet ratio. So certainly other planets have moons, but they would appear more like little dots in the sky.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
If you, all right, so I talked to another Glober, slightly highly more ranked than the other one that said your thing was falsifiable. He said if we did the thing with the sun, you'd get a different circumference and you'd get a different radius if it wasn't in its actual position.
Right. I heard you talking to him.
You've been debunked twice already today, Matthew. You've been in here for like 10 minutes, bro. It's not a good start.
But that's not how I would characterize it.
Well, let's give him a chance. He seems like nice.
I'm just messing. I'm
I
just
like
messing
him.
with him. Nah, he knows. He knows.
I know. I've been around.
So did you disagree with his saying the radius would be different, or?
Yeah, if
I like him.
Eratosthenes came up with a different, like if he were looking at the sun and it wasn't actually there, he'd probably come up with some other number and get the wrong answer.
So the sun, we're acknowledging like that the atmosphere plays a huge role in how we see it. Such as, for example, it should be completely invisible, and you're saying for like the selenelian, it's visible. Well, couldn't we then acknowledge that the sunset itself, like the atmosphere plays a huge role in it, and maybe the sun being apparently cut off halfway as it, is setting, that could also potentially be an atmospheric phenomenon?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but typically we see that the speed of the sun slows down slightly, and so if we just say, "Hey, it's 15 degrees per hour," then what we're seeing is about half a degree behind during sunset and sunrise, and so it's not that much. As far as the sun being cut off, the bottom half of the sun is what we don't see halfway through a sunset, and that allegedly would be closer to you on a flat Earth. So that explanation doesn't work. I think it's because it's
No.
behind the water.
Hold on, that was a two
No.
K. You're throwing
Hold
in
on,
like
there's a bunch of problems there with what he just said. So first of all, it's not because it's even closer to us would make it more refraction because there's more messy atmosphere that you're looking through. Whenever things approach 90 degrees, like straight above, they say there's almost no refraction that you're experiencing. But as you get closer to the horizon, the refraction increases. Another phenomenon with the sun during sunset that the mainstream acknowledges is that it gets much, much darker near the, near the surface, like closer to the ground. The sun becomes progressively more orange and red as it approaches the surface. So obviously this light is being scattered. Then wouldn't it be a logical conclusion that as it goes through enough atmosphere, you're eventually not going to be able to see it just because of what it?
Oh, right. Yeah, I think that's right. If there's an infinite amount of atmosphere or whatever, at some point you wouldn't see it.
Well, there's an infinite amount of refraction to make it completely visible, dude. If it's supposed to be hidden with the selenelian, right?
Yeah, the selenelian can happen if both the sun and the moon are refracted up a little bit, up to maybe half a degree.
A lot of bit.
Half a degree isn't very much.
You keep saying half a degree, but
Okay,
you're
I
not
don't think half a degree would make the whole sun back in field of view.
Really? How wide do you think the sun is?
That's what he's saying. Because the sun is a half a degree, that's all it
Yeah.
has to be. But you're not taking into
Hey, Matthew.
consideration. Yeah, half a degree in your sight doesn't necessarily mean the sun is small. It doesn't have to move an incredible amount. Apparently.
So
Right.
Center is actually right. Okay, so this is what it says. When the upper limb of the sun appears to touch the horizon, the sun's center is actually 50 arc minutes, just under 1 solar diameter below the true horizon, about 16 arc minutes. Okay, so let me do the math here. Upper limb touch, then the sun's center below. Yeah, I'm doing the math. Y'all can continue.
Yeah, half a degree is about 30 arc minutes. Or, I mean, exactly 30 arc minutes.
So just to be clear, that would debunk the radius, Matt?
No, it wouldn't.
The thing we were talking about, the thing you don't agree with Wesley?
What the Eratosthenes calculations?
Well, I mean, we said we were going to do it from any angle. We would do it when it's low, when it's high. I mean, even if you did it when it was Eratosthenes and the sun wasn't in its actual position, you're in the same situation as if it's at the horizon. If it's not in its actual position, it's not in its actual position. You're going to get a different radius. Ultimately,
yeah. If I measure my table with the tape measure and the table's not in its actual position, then I'd get the wrong number. I mean, yeah, if something's not where it's supposed to be, you're just going to get wrong data, right?
Well, bro, that's what I was trying to tell you last night.
Matthew, in that photo that you posted, the bottom half of the sun is cut off. I
Yeah.
noticed.
Why is it?
I notice in this picture something very interesting in that the sun. Do you know what the keyhole effect is? That sometimes the sun mirrors itself.
I guess I've seen pictures that are like that, but
So
you think it's going on here? I don't see a keyhole.
it is happening here. Actually, you can see at the bottom of the photo, it's not continuing that circular path. It's getting like oblong. And what you're seeing there, that's like the mirage part, right? But the crazy part is that band, even though it's like only 1 millimeter or whatever above the horizon in this photo, think how far that horizon is. And when something is that far away from you, all the things look smaller and smaller, but they're not actually smaller. So that band is huge in reality.
Yeah, and so the question remains, why can't we see the bottom of the sun? If the Earth is flat, the sun would just sort of shrink down and down.
Should be completely gone when it touches the horizon. What do you mean?
It's in there. It's in there. You see it? That's what I'm saying. You're seeing that band has all of that information compressed. That's the limit, dude. That's it. That's what we're going to be able to see according to this atmosphere. You could see the band. It's like 1 millimeter. You see it on the sun, right? It gets a little oblong by the water. That's a
but
thick band,
you can
bro.
see the top half of the sun, the curve of the top half of the sun. But why can't you see the curve of the bottom half of the sun? Because allegedly, if the Earth were flat, it'd be closer to you than the top.
No, it's going into that band. It's all there, dude. But that band, that's like the end, dude. You can't see any further than that. You'd have to walk towards it to see the whole sun. That's the only way it would work. That would be if like the plane extends out in front of us. In a horizontal fashion. Now, if you're saying it would curve away, I don't think this is the effect you would see. What's creating that band? That weird mirroring effect.
Yeah, that mirroring effect, I'm not sure. Something that lens or photography or something. But I
That's
mean, I've
very
seen
nice.
this with my own eyes too, right?
Yeah,
Have you
no,
ever
me
seen?
too. All the time. I see these sunsets, these kind. I've seen the keyhole with my own eyes. There's a complete band of information that like my mind just can't interpret. It's the craziest thing, dude. And I know some people tell me, you know, that's the edge of the earth, but I'm like, no, dude, you just walk towards it in a straight line and it just keeps going. I think that God is going to remove that band so every eye will see, you know? That's how everyone will see the sun. But yeah, that's a mind phenomena. That's not like a reality one. You know, the reality itself doesn't actually do that. That's just a mind thing. That's how your mind is processing what you're looking at.
I don't know. I mean, it looks to me like the bottom half of the sun is cut off by something physical in the way, and so I think that's the best explanation, just what it looks like.
Yeah, but the best explanation is not always the true one. Like, for example, if there was
That's
like a
true.
murder,
That's true.
yeah, if there was like a murder and there was one explanation that seemed, you know, logical or seemed like it was the best one that the detectives have, but it may not be the truth.
I don't think it's very logical. I mean, it's not reproducible whatsoever on a small scale.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Look
think
at
that's
that.
the best explanation for
Every
it
time
either.
the sun goes behind a building, it looks like that.
Hmm? Dude, you literally just acknowledged that the sun should be completely gone whenever we see it. And you're not gonna give us
Still
like it being
there.
cut off?
I'm saying that when the sun goes behind a building, still in the sky, but it goes behind the building because you're sitting too close to the building.
Okay, so the
The
thing,
building cuts off the sun as the sun goes behind the building, and it looks the same when it goes over the ocean.
no, dude. Okay, so whenever the sun, okay, so whenever it's like touching, whenever it starts to quote unquote touch the horizon, it's already should be invisible. All right, so there's already a lot of craziness happening with refraction, as you say, which is
You're
why
calling
the Solomonian eclipse is
refractions
viewable.
craziness?
No,
Why
I mean
would
that's
you?
the fact that it should be completely hidden and you can see the whole sun. I mean, that's quite a lot of refraction. Okay.
0.5 degrees refraction.
Yeah, that's quite a
It's
lot.
some refraction.
On
It is quite a
astronomical
lot, but
scale.
it's not out
Absolutely.
of
For
the.
an object to be hidden that's completely field of view is wild. Also, as I mentioned, the sun, whenever it's actually supposed to be hidden, whenever we're watching it, the bottom of it starts to get darker and darker red. Okay, so you can already see as it's approaching the horizon, there's less and less light able to reach you. That's why it's like red shifting, right? And so doesn't it make sense that like, yeah, the bottom of it, the messier the atmosphere that it's going through, it's eventually not gonna reach your eyes? Kind of
Yeah,
like
eventually. It's not
when
at that point
you're
though,
looking.
because you can see the rest of it.
Hmm?
You can see the top half, and it's going through more atmosphere than the bottom half.
Why would the top half go through more atmosphere?
Well, because it's farther away from you on the flat Earth.
No, you're incorrect on this.
It's not.
I promise you.
Okay, so which
The
is
top, the
closer
bottom.
to you, the
I
top of
can
the sun or
explain
the
it.
bottom of the sun?
Whether it's listen, let me completely explain it to you, please. Okay, so the bottom of the sun's experiencing the most amount of refraction. This is why they say it becomes redder because the light's being, redshifted. It's going through more and more atmosphere. As you approach the surface of the Earth, you're going to look through more. I don't know a better word other than messier atmosphere. This is why they say whenever you look directly up ahead, you have no refraction whenever you're looking at celestial objects straight overhead. Then as you approach the horizon, it gets exponentially higher and higher levels of refraction because of the density layers and the density gradient that you're looking through. Becomes more
Yeah.
profound. So as light travels through the more, like the higher density gradient, which would be present in the lower atmospheric layers, it becomes, exponentially more, shifted, and you can't see it. Things can be like, even here on Earth, you can have boats and many things appear to disappear bottom up, but they're not actually disappearing bottom up. It's a well-known refractive principle.
To me, the question is like you're asking like what's closer to you, the bottom of the rainbow or the top of the arch? What?
Yeah, the rainbow isn't a real thing. It's more of an optical phenomenon. I'm talking about like the sun. The sun is a real object. Is on a flat Earth, is the top of the sun farther from you or the bottom of the sun? Which is farther from your eyes?
You mean physical, like you could go there and touch it and
Yeah,
stuff?
physical. Like, yeah, the actual
Yeah,
sun.
that's your claim, dude.
No, it was a question. It wasn't a claim. I'm saying which, on a flat Earth, which is farther from you, the top of the actual sun or the bottom of the actual sun?
That implies shape, doesn't it? That implies objectivity to the sun in such a way that it's physical, that you could go to it and touch it, doesn't it?
Yes, the sun is physical. We look at it and we can see sunspots that rotate. Everything that we know indicates that it's physical, that it's an actual thing.
I'd say the same for
Would you
rainbows.
say the sun isn't real?
I'd say the same thing for rainbows, all those proofs you just gave.
No, rainbows are obviously a optical phenomena in the atmosphere because they don't have like a constant location. They shift
I
based
could
on
see
perspective.
spots on them. I could see spots on them move. I could see it from different angles and stuff. What are you talking about? You could
Everybody
do all
knows
that.
that the rainbow isn't physical, right? Or you think it is? It's an optical
I mean, in
phenomenon.
the sense of the sun, being physical, but not like in the
Yeah,
sense
the
that you
sun
can
is
go
physical.
and touch it or anything. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, cumulonimbus clouds are physical, but you can't touch them because they're way above the above you. I mean, even in a plane, I think some of them are higher than planes go.
Yeah, I just don't know if I'm convinced it's like a fiery ball of gas that's like physical that you can, go and touch and probe and stuff.
But you don't have to touch something to know that it's real, do you?
You could bounce radar off it.
You can bounce radar off the atmosphere too. The ionosphere,
Yeah, you can with
the
different
dome,
frequencies.
physical.
Yeah, because the ionosphere is real and it has objects in it that bounce off the freaking radar.
Mm-hmm.
You use different frequencies, you can
So
get
the
through
sun's
the
about
ion.
0 God. Can you touch the sun? Can you touch the ionosphere?
Taylor, you're not really trying to say that the sun isn't an object, are you?
No,
Okay.
never said that. I was talking about the
That's
ionosphere. Must be something going on up there in the atmosphere.
I
You're
know, but
getting
why
real
would you
loose with your words. You're getting real
even try to
loose
help
with
out?
your words.
Why
You're
would you even
What? I'm just saying that the ionosphere, there's something bouncing, you know. Radio waves can bounce off the ionosphere. What are they bouncing off of? Can we replicate ions like bouncing off radio waves on a small scale? I'm not sure. Maybe.
are they you don't know if they're bouncing off of objects.
I don't know if they're bouncing off of objects. What?
Do you
The
think
whole
it's like?
claim
Do you think?
is
Do you
that
think?
why we brought up radar is to prove that we're bouncing it off a physical object. Then you said the ionosphere. Now I'm trying to tell you, do you believe that the ionosphere is not made up of objects?
No, I'm just saying. Well, then if this, if you use that bouncing off to prove that the sun's a physical object, well, then I can use bouncing off to prove that the ionosphere is a physical object.
Yes.
Agreed. Well put. Does bounce off the ionosphere.
I mean clouds, you bounce it off those things. You say you can't touch those either.
He never said you can't touch the clouds because they're not objects. He said because you're on the ground and they're up there. If you could travel to the cloud, I'm sure Matthew would say you can touch a cloud.
Well, that'd be my question. If the sun not physical, then what's the other option?
Well, could it be physical in the sense, like you said, a rainbow is physical, right?
You're the only one that claimed the rainbow was physical.
I don't think rainbow is physical. But we talking about something that we can see as big as bright. We can feel the heat from it. So I don't understand like what the other option besides it being something physical.
Yeah. Say it is something physical. I wouldn't be able to determine the exact size of that, right? Of that thing and where it is and all that stuff. Because, like, in
You
order to
would
know
be able to
things, I need
determine
to
that. It
do
must
like
be
him.
really, really.
I need to
You
do.
would be able to determine.
Hold on one
Really,
second, dude. Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. In order to determine a thing, I have to do an empirical scientific experiment upon the thing, right?
yes, and the experiment that you can do is you can take an extremely highly detailed photograph of the sun once in the winter, once in the summer, and you can do it like multiple times from multiple different locations, and you can compare these photographs, and you can see if there's any size difference in the sun because of how we know photogrammetry works. Is that you can determine the distance of the sun based off of the very small change in size of those pictures from summer to winter. And then you could determine that the sun must be this far away, and there's a difference between summer and winter, and it's because of how far away we are and the angle that we are facing the sun. Very good. Science
Except
school.
that the sun is closest in January and farthest in July. So
For
why is
what
it hot in
hemisphere?
July? From both.
Yeah, that's why I brought up. That's why I brought up the angle, and we can prove that the angles to the sun is what
It doesn't
determines the
matter.
seasons.
It's
Because
still
if
stupid.
you can focus light on a smaller area, then the light intensifies, and if you spread that air light over a larger area, it's not as strong. It's amazing
Like,
how science works. It just proves things true and true and true.
it should be hotter when it's.
Science doesn't prove things. Science can support evidence. You can do experimentation to support a hypothesis. But you're not proving things. Just saying.
And then,
Well,
do you agree that I can do those things with a rainbow and like get
I
your
agree. I'm
dimensions and
home,
stuff?
and I have to go because I love my wife.
A rainbow is a uh, creation of your mind. If you had different eyes, like a dog's eyes or a horse's eyes, you would not see the rainbow.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't a
Hello?
dog see a rainbow? Because they can see colors, right?
What happened?
They have different eyes.
Uh,
And again, the rainbow is not there. What is there
50-50.
is water in the air, raining probably.
I was born Dominican
And the,
Republic, Dominican.
Yeah, but the rainbow is caused by refraction in the water droplets and all that type of stuff. And so it doesn't matter if you're a horse or a dog, or if you're taking a picture, if you're using a pinhole camera with no lens at all, the
That's true.
rainbow would still be there.
Shiny is Dominican.
Wait, somebody's hot micing.
water would still be there and the sun would still be there, but you would not see the rainbow if you had different eyes.
Yes, you would.
I think this dude just tried to make rainbows not exist in
Yes, man.
reality.
Right. Meanwhile, Elbow's hot
A tu
mic
casa, sí.
some Dominican.
Sorry about that, yeah.
Get
No
ready.
problem.
I don't think like a rainbow is something that everybody is not going to see. Like you might see a rainbow where you're at, somebody else ain't gonna be able to see it. But everybody facing the sun's gonna be able to see the sun.
I don't see like how that's a qualifier to say that they're different or something. I don't get it.
Yeah, because one is a byproduct of light traveling through like rain and being diffused or whatever, and the other one is like an actual thing in an actual location.
Yeah, or not. Right?
What you mean? Not? There's no other.
Or
That's what
not.
I'm saying. That's
Oh,
why I
there's
asked
no
earlier.
other. That's it?
There's no other.
That's the
No,
only option?
I mean, that's why. No, I asked. That's why I literally asked you. I was like, if the sun's not physical, then what is it?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. I can tell you the things that it does. And we could take pictures of it and tell you about the size of it, but I would never go as far to say like it's a fireball, of these gases, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not
I
asking you like
think
specifically what it is. I'm saying what category would you put it in? You're saying that it's not
I would
physical. So
say the
like,
sun is
what
in
category?
heaven. I would say the sun is in heaven.
So what is it, like an angel, or like is it like a,
No, there's
I don't
other
know.
things besides angels in heaven.
Okay, so like expand, like what could it be? Like what, you're just saying it's in
I
heaven.
would say it's
What
a
is it?
heavenly body as far as I know. So I don't know if I would go and give it like size dimensions because Matthew Learns asked the top of the sun is further away from you at sunset than the bottom of the sun, which I understand what he's saying because the hypotenuse of the triangle. But that does assume like a shape and size of the sun to draw these lines to.
But you don't have to assume a shape. You can see it. What about the moon? Is the moon also a heavenly, non-physical
Yeah, they're
body?
heavenly bodies. Yeah.
That we can bounce radar off of.
Yep, that's correct. I don't know. Is that not allowed for heavenly bodies to do?
So you can bounce radars from heaven.
I guess
We can hit a
so.
heavenly radar.
Nobody's bouncing shit off the moon. Ain't nobody bouncing shit off the moon.
Of
That's
course they
categorically
are.
false. People do it all the time. You can do it. You should try.
It'd also be like special pleading too, because anytime every other case of us seeing light that comes from a material object, right? So if you want to say that the sun is the one case where it's not actually a material object that's emitting the light, right? That would be special pleading.
I'm not convinced that it's a fireball thing, though. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, I was thinking like, how do you get to that
Doesn't
point?
matter. It still has to have a size and a shape, right? Because every other case
And
of us
trees don't
seeing
grow
light,
towards fireballs. I do know that.
every other case of us seeing light, it comes from some kind of object that has a size and shape. So at the minimum, the sun would at least have to have a size and a shape.
It will at least have to be
Yeah,
physical.
as we perceive it, right? As we perceive it.
No,
It's not
not
like
by
we could go
perception.
to it and like measure it physically.
But it doesn't matter. There's a lot of objects you can't go to and measure physically that also emit light, right?
Yeah,
So
like rainbows. Yeah.
no, there's things on small scales that emit light.
But you
But
used the word
nonetheless, right,
object. Oh
would
no.
be special pleading to say otherwise, and that'd be fallacious.
Oh yeah, man. I'm just like nervous to turn
Of
heavenly bodies into like these objects of worship. You know what I mean? So like,
Well,
worship.
nobody's
You're
worshiping the
saying it's
sun these
heavenly.
days.
You're applying a religious connotation to it when you say that it's heavenly.
Right. So
Yeah,
I'm
it
a
would be
heliocentrist.
and that's the lens that I look through the world through. I look through the Bible, like the lens of the Bible. You don't?
Me too.
So
I'm
you're
a
bringing.
heliocentrist, but that doesn't mean I worship the sun. It just means I think the sun is the center of the solar system. That's all.
Okay. It's just the center of and everything for our existence. It's everything we
No,
need.
the center of the solar
It's,
system.
yeah, and it's just like perfectly there. It's just beautiful.
Oh yeah,
But
God's
couldn't.
design is very beautiful. I would say
Yeah.
God's design is perfect.
Yep. As
I
soon as
mean,
we could
there's
get
effects
God
and
in the
flaws.
center, it might start to look better.
Wait, you
God
want
could be
God
in
to
the
be
sun.
the center of the physical universe? Because God is omnipresent, and so He's a spiritual being, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
So that you think the sun's a spiritual, not being. I'm not gonna use that word, but a spiritual substance or something.
Dude, I don't know about any of the substance of it. That's what I'm saying. I just don't think it's like a fiery, like a fireball
But you
thing.
know it's not physical. So you know it's not physical, but you don't know. So you don't know what it is, but you know what it's not.
Yeah. I'm ruling out fiery thing. Like fiery gas ball.
So what about the moon?
I don't know what that is, dude. I don't know what the moon is.
Do you think the moon's
Same.
physical?
I think we can measure it. I think we could do all the same things. One gives off heat, one doesn't really, you know.
But that's something you can like see, and you can see it even when it's not lit completely, right? And you can see like craters and stuff on it, and like physical features and stuff on it. But you would still say that's not physical.
I'm not calling things not physical or what is physical. You know what I mean? All those things are in my reality, and how I understand my reality is those are heavenly bodies. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Good. I mean, I get you're saying they're heavenly bodies, but I'm trying to understand what you mean when you say they're not physical. That's the part that I'm having trouble with.
Well, in the sense, like, I can't do like a tangible experiment with it. You know what I mean? I can't get like empirical with the sun. You know, I can't go
You
to
can
it and
do
measure it and that stuff. And I know you
you can
can
do
do that
it.
with other things, but I think it's like before I go declaring for sure, like if, like, say it is just fire, it's almost like, fire, is that really physical, anyways? You know what I mean? Like, what is going on with that? You know?
Well, I mean, the sun's not just like a fireball, like it's like nuclear fusion type of situation going on. So I wouldn't classify it as like a big fireball, But I'm talking about the moon right now. You can get off the sun. You just look at the moon. You can see that you can you can see that it resembles a rock. I think you wouldn't have a problem saying that it resembles a rock.
Not just like any rock, dude, but
Right.
like a
So
perfect, like, perfect, like spherical, maybe one, like a
yeah, I'm
bowling
just
ball,
saying like a boulder or something, like a big ass
like a
boulder.
bowling ball.
It kind of resembles that. Not exactly, but I'm just saying they have similarities, right?
Yeah.
Right. So to say that it isn't physical, you know, there's really not too much basis for you to say that outside of
Moon,
a religious context.
moon resembles rock, therefore moon is rock, or
No, I'm
rock
not saying
is.
it's a rock.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's
Okay.
physical. At this point, I'm just saying it's physical. I'm not saying that it's a rock, but it has the physical characteristics of other physical things. I'm not saying it's a rock. I just said it resembles one. But you can bounce
Yeah.
radar off of it. You can see it.
Yep.
It reflects light. So you have all this evidence of why it would be physical, but yet you still say that it's not physical. And I'm trying to figure that part out.
What, you don't think like heaven is physical, like a physical place?
Nah, I think heaven's a spiritual place.
Okay. I think it's
I don't think. I don't think it's like a physical. I don't think I could enter heaven like physically.
Do you think that heaven is supposed to come to earth in a physical way? That God is going to be here with people?
I think I think Jesus is going to come back. Yeah, but that's a whole different discussion and topic because I think the Earth is going to be, at that point, it's not going to be the Earth that me and you know.
Is that going to happen in time and space and physical stuff? There going to be like a way to measure length, width, height there?
I can answer that question. You got to ask God that. You got to ask Jesus that. I don't know the time or the hour. I don't know none of it. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess my argument is just I don't know a lot about those heavenly bodies, those things. When you say spiritual, we probably have a different definition of what that would mean. You know, I can see a lot of spiritual things being very physical, being very real. In the sense that you would call it real. So yeah, sun, a moon. I don't put those out of that category.
Okay, fair enough. I was just wondering.
Imagine convincing somebody that there's a satellite 1,000,000 miles away orbiting nothing, a point in space. That's what they believe. So what's more plausible? It's Earth-based or it's 1,000,000 miles away, circling a nothing point? I mean, come on, man.
Are you trying to diss Lagrange points?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to tell me that somebody believes that two orbiting objects have 5 places where quote unquote gravity cancels out and you can make something circle that, orbit that? Like how
Hold
does
on. Why'd you say 5? I thought there was only 4 Lagrange points.
I could be, I think there's 5, but whatever, 4, 5, 6, how many they are? Like
Oh, we need to
50.
know now. No, this ain't over. We got to find that out.
Okay, somebody Google it. I think
Where are you
there's
getting
5.
a
I
fifth
could
one?
be
I could
wrong.
see 4. I don't know where you'd get the 5th one from, though.
Oh, you can see 4. 4 is okay in your mind, but not 5.
Yeah, I mean, you when you put it like that, I hear you. But in their model, like 4, I could see 4 in their model. I don't know where the 5th one would come from. That's all.
Well, I can't Google it right now, but I'm sure we can find out in 2 seconds.
What do you guys want to know?
How many Lagrange points are there between 2 orbiting objects?
Says 5.
5? Okay, that's what I thought. So there's 5 mythical spots. I mean, it's like how can you believe this stuff, man? It's mind-boggling to me anyway.
Says 3 collinear points and 2 triangular points.
Good one, Gio. Yeah, that's the one. Well, that's the Hubble, I believe. So if you can take a picture from high altitude, which what Geo posted there, we found out it's on a plane, on the back end of a plane. Why can't you take pictures from Earth or whatever? So I mean, But that's irrelevant, right? Well, it is relevant, but the main points are the findings of their own scientists, right? They're all saying now they have to rewrite cosmology from A to Z, with maybe the exception of the solar system. They say the solar system doesn't get affected, which I don't believe, but we'll give him that one, right? But the rest of it, it's all gone. Early galaxy formation, black holes, early matter, the timeline of cosmology, it's all out the window. So basically, all the predictions they made are null and void.
You know what this does, SE, as well, is this buys them another 50 or 100 years of just making up a new narrative, just making something new. It's like the tax department. They constantly change the tax codes just to keep everybody looking at the new thing. You know, you forget the old thing, just look at now we've got to comply with the new tax code. They don't ever leave the tax system alone. They keep changing it. So if what you're saying is true and now suddenly, this cosmology's got to be rewritten, well, it buys them a 10-year, 50-year, 100-year window to just now reconfigure and rediscover and just change everything. Like suddenly anything that's been discovered in the previous model that's faulty, well, now we get to reinvent something. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but
No, I get what you're saying, but see, the problem is they shot themselves in the foot here, right? Because they painted themselves in such a corner where there's really no way out of this one. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Their cosmological model, Big Bang, has a timeline, right? And it has from baby to teenager to adult. I'll explain it that way for galaxy formation, right? So, and they also say when they look back, it's like looking back in time, right? So when they look back in time, the galaxy, the age of the galaxies have to be in baby form, right? In order for their theory to be correct. But what they find is when they look back in time, they're expecting to find like a 4-month-old baby, like a galaxy, like in its early formations. But what they do is at that particular timeline where the baby should be 4 months old, they're finding massive galaxies that are like 14 billion years old. In other words, in baby language, you look for a baby and you find a 14-year-old teenager. Now, how can you explain that away? See what I'm saying? There's no explanation for that. I mean, that's why they're freaking out. But the problem is most people don't know anything about this and they figure, well, that's how science is. They're going to rejig it. But they can't. There's no way out of this one. I don't know if I explained it correct, like sufficiently enough.
Yeah, I do. Look, I think we're both right in what we're saying. How do we explain this one? Well, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and suddenly it's another 50-year process to just keep programs running, keep NASA busy, keep universities busy studying things to try and now reinvent a new plausible explanation.
Yeah, you're probably right because people don't understand the intricacies of it, like the way I explained it, right? Most people think, oh well, they're just gonna move some bricks around, but
bro,
I'm fairly
confident. Right? I'm fairly confident they'll figure it out because they measured Earth not orbiting, and they got out of that, dude. Weinstein came through and said, "Oh, it's a geodesic space event." They got out of it. You know how hard that must have been. You can get out of anything if you can get out of that. That was crazy.
How long did it take them, Jeremy? How long did it take to get out of it?
Not long. They had Einstein on it. I don't know. It was like 10, 20, 15 years, maybe 10 years, maybe less.
Well, this one's going to be
They were
tricky because
sitting on it though. You think they wanted to get Einstein, bro? That shit was nutty. That shit was nuttier than squirrel turds. You know what I'm saying? They had no choice though. They're like, yo, we didn't measure in orbit. Like, what do we got to do something here? Somebody's got to fix it. So this is all we got. It's all you got.
Well, I've been waiting for years now to find for the solution. They're gonna have to put it this way to make it simple, right? They're gonna have to speed up time. Can they do that? Can they accelerate time? I shouldn't be giving them ideas.
Yeah. So all that we'll have to do, you're right, SE, is just then come up with some theoretical mathematical justification for it, and then suddenly that becomes reality. That's what happened.
I got it, bro. I got it. Black time. Dark
Black
time.
time. Dark time. It's time that exists, but we don't know that it's there. But it has to be there. Yeah,
No,
perfect.
it's accelerated time. Dark time acceleration. There it is.
Dark time. You should copyright that.
Well, they came up with two solutions, right, so far, and I've been keeping an eye on this because I love this because they have to start tap dancing now. The first one is they doubled the age of the universe. That doesn't work. And the other one was a doozy. They said, okay, we had the Big Bang, but a few hundred million years after the regular Big Bang, there was a dark matter bang. I kid you not. They came up with, which I don't see how that changes anything, but those are so far the two theories they came up with.
All they've got to do is the same thing that, science fiction movie makers do, where, somebody will come up with a storyline, but then you've got half a dozen guys with a brain who will come up with why that doesn't work. Oh, that's not realistic because no, and eventually, with enough time spent around a boardroom table, they come up with a narrative that basically no one can theoretically debunk, and there's your story.
What
Like
I'm
I said,
reading
I'm
here,
waiting. Go ahead, bro.
I'm not sure what I haven't looked into what SC just brought up, but the way I understood it, they say that the universe is roughly the same age, and the stuff further out only appears younger because of how far the light has to travel. But you're saying new findings are showing even older than they thought, or
Yes, they're finding where galaxies should be in their early form. They're finding huge, big galaxies like ours, like the Milky Way, which should take like billions of years to
but
form. They're finding them at 500 million years after the Big Bang.
I'm asking, how do they decide what age something should be at if they just found it?
Well, the age is according to and I don't believe this by any means, right? But I'm just explaining to you. The further back they look, they're in the model is they're looking back in time, right? Because the light takes so much time to travel, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Yeah. So at that distance where they're looking at, it's around 400 million years after the Big Bang. And according to the theory, the galaxy should be that size, that much maturity, this amount of stuff in it, right? And they're finding no, they're finding like it's mature, it's huge, it's a galaxy that should have taken like 14 billion years to form instead of 400 million. So, like I said, if you understand that, you realize that how are they going to get out of this pickle? Like you're looking for a 4-year-old baby, you get the red alert, amber alert. 4-month old baby, you're looking for it, the cops find it, and it's a 14-year-old teenager. Huh? Scooby Doo. So that's basically where they're at, and that's just one thing. That's just one thing. Then there's heavy metals that shouldn't be there. There's black holes that shouldn't have formed that huge, and all kinds of other stuff.
And then how do you transition even that information through to the educational system, like into every high school and in the world? How do you replace those textbooks, retrain all the science teachers, body involved? How do you roll that out?
I bet
Roll
you
what
if
out?
you
A reset?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You just got to either let everyone continue to live in the paradigm of the false information, or what's the other option?
You do it like that movie, The Village. Ever see that movie, The Village?
Yeah, you just put a fence around it and tell them there's a
That's how
boogeyman.
you roll a reset out. You teach a whole bunch of kids a whole bunch of stuff in one spot and then just let them go wild.
So I'm reading right here. This might not be accurate. It's just one of the AI sources. It says the universe is roughly, they say 13.8 billion years old everywhere.
that's the theory. Yep.
And so the distance they look out will appear younger because of the traveling of light. And I'm saying, like, how do they determine, okay, if everything's moving through space, right? How do they determine what the age of something should be when they look out? Like the things around it?
Well, they use like a distance. They use
Carbon dating.
Carbon dating, yeah.
they use what's called Cepheid variable stars, and the quasars and blah blah blah. They have different distance ladders. Let's put it that way. Now, mind you, this is all theoretical stuff, right? There's no way to prove any of this, right? But that's how they do it.
So how do they determine that so, if everything's flying through space, can something older fly faster past things that are younger than it? Like what prevents that?
Well, and look, all the stuff I'm telling you now, it's all according to the pseudo model, right? I don't believe any of it. I'm just
Yeah.
explaining what they say. They say that everything travels together, right? Like the moon travels around the earth travels around the sun travels in its
Well,
part of the galaxy,
that's for things in orbit together, yeah. But what about things that aren't in orbit together?
Well, they say all of that travels together, and they found recently that it all seems to be going towards this thing called the great attractor, that everything is moving around the great attractor.
Which I'm assuming they would think is the origins of the Big Bang, the center.
No, they don't know what it is. They don't know what it is. They have theories and blah blah blah, but no, that's not. Oh, by the way, and I'm glad you mentioned that. There is no center, believe it or not. That's another nonsense that they say. There's no, because you would think like you just did, right? If there's a big bang, there's a place of impact, right? You throw a grenade, ground zero is where the grenade explodes, right? And everything breaks out from there. That's how you're thinking it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen to this. According to them, according to the pseudo model, that's not the case. Everything banged all at the same time, everywhere. Now, don't ask me how, but that's what the story says.
Well,
I believe that
I'm
because of the
telling you.
redshift paradox, because everything is redshifted, so space-time itself is expanding, so everything is expanding away from itself, because they would have expected equal blue shifted and red shifted if it was a central point of expansion, but they don't see that, so they have to assume the expansionary model as a result.
Yeah, they think it's like they explain it like a rising bread with with I don't know, chocolate bits, like an
Right,
all.
or like a balloon that's being inflated, and we're on the surface of the
Yeah,
balloon.
yeah, yes.
I've heard that.
Of course, without any proof at all, right? They just make stuff up as they go. Just the idea that you think everything banged all at everywhere, it's just ridiculous. Because first they say the galaxy was small in an infinitesimal small place, right? And it banged. Well, if that's the case, how could it bang anywhere? It would have to bang from that infinitesimal small space, right? I mean, it's ridiculous, but that's what they teach.
Yeah, I can't even conceptualize the Big Bang occurring everywhere, stretching everything everywhere at once. I can't even.
I know. I'm with you. I mean, I can't see that. That doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever.
The way I originally had it explained to me was that they treat it as no center because from our position everything is stretching away. But you're saying that they actually claim physically there's no center.
Yeah, do a quick search. Do a quick search. You'll see. That's what they say. It's nuts, bro. You see, this they get away with this stuff is because most people don't take the time to look into what they actually say, right? They just have this idea in their head, like a grenade expanding, and most people just are not. They're not going to take the time and check out all these different theories, right?
And they also don't use Kirchhoff's black body laws of radiation correctly because they haven't even characterized the medium if it's perfectly black, the way that Kirchhoff done it. And if the medium is in perfect equilibrium with its environment, they just assume from some particulars here upon Earth and assume that is the way, space has the same so-called initial conditions. But if you haven't calibrated or characterized your initial conditions, then you can't infer anything from the absorption or emission spectra that you so-called observe from the sky. So that whole thing is not even empirically verified, which is very strange to me.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. The absorption.
Dr. Pierre Robitaille goes into that like ad nauseum, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's another. That's another can of worms. Yeah. Like they claim the sun is a near black body. You can believe that.
And that it's
So it says here,
ultimately
I
purely
looked it up.
gaseous, which is crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I pulled up what as he was saying. Yeah, I guess there's three mainstream ideas, which is the first one being the universe is infinite and has no boundary. Therefore, without a boundary, you can't determine a center point. The second one is it's non-Euclidean. So asking to find the surface of something is like the center of the surface of something just doesn't make sense. The third one being the geometry of the universe is flat and the universe has no boundary. In this scenario, there is a center, but there's consequences to the geometry. So yeah, and each one is kind of some kind of weirdness going on.
Yeah, the bottom line, they just don't know. They just don't know. These are big scientists. They have the big bananas on their arms, right? They got their PhDs, and they literally can just write a paper with any cockamamie idea they have in their minds. It really is that simple, unfortunately. Like, I'm not saying they're dumb or anything. They know their math, they know stuff, right? But there's no way of knowing this. There's just no way, no matter how smart you are, no matter how good you are in math, there's just no way of knowing this. It's that simple.
Yeah, I like the third one. The universe is flat and has a boundary, but the problem would be that they would have to be able to observe the edge.
Yeah, how would they know? And how would they know the
Yeah, I like the third one. The universe is flat and has a boundary, but the problem would be that they would have to be able to observe the edge.
Yeah, how would they know? And how would they know the universe is flat? I mean, there is findings that they've done, and they call it the something evil. I forget what the exact term was.
Oh, the
Where they
axis of
found,
evil, I think.
yeah, that's it, the axis of evil, where they found that the observable, what we can see, the universe is flat. That's another thing, right? But even so, how would you know what the whole universe is? Like, that takes some chutzpah right there, right? And in that finding, by the way, they found that the Earth was at the center of all that. It's like, okay. So
We
we have
can't
a
have
flat
that.
universe that's not homogeneous and isotropic. It's flat now.
Yeah, did you hear about the attempts to reproduce the cosmic microwave background radiation using the Peruni antenna in the 1970s? That I think is very interesting. Yeah, it was talked about also by like some physicists who are a bit skeptical about a lot of the findings. So essentially, a lot of the initial Hubble telescope and initial radio telescopes that characterize the cosmic microwave background radiation were directed telescopes. So they had a bias, they had to focus it in a certain area. They're often very close to bodies of water because there's no obstructions next to bodies of water. Whereby the user Huroni telescope, this is a symmetrical one, so you can get something that's isotropic, fully kind of spherical. So you can then contrast radiation that comes from left or right, or the polar coordinates that you might have, and they'd be able to cancel out noise. So the internal temperature of this radio telescope, I think it was like, I could be wrong, it was either 2.3 or 4 point something Kelvin. So that was the internal calibration temperature. And then when they tried to measure the cosmic microwave background radiation, they found that it was the same as the internal calibrated temperature. So they actually couldn't pick up anything. So they believed that their initial kind of findings were just like things like incident radio waves or other kind of radiation that bounced off the water bodies of water that were nearby, and other experiments kind of replicated that. And so they had this paper out for about 10 years before they published it, saying like, can you guys please critique this? Where did we go wrong? And they didn't receive any critiques. And they published it, but then it got like pulled out of big European journals. It landed in like a small Greek journal, and didn't see the light of day till some physicists in the past like 10 years who were like, about this finding, can we look at this? And the scientific community has more or less been like silent on it. They don't really want to talk about it. So
Surprise.
that I think is very, very kind of funny.
Yeah, they tend to put away the stuff that disproves their findings, unless it's something like this, the James Webb so-called space telescope findings, which I'm kind of surprised that they're even putting them out there, because it's like it just shoots their whole model. Like it's kind of fascinating how that's getting out. But I mean, do you hear anybody talking about it? Are they teaching anything different in colleges and universities? Absolutely not. They're still teaching the Big Bang. They're still teaching dark matter, expansion, speeding up of the expansion of the universe, and all that stuff. None of it is filtering down to the colleges and to the universities, as far as I know.
Yeah, if it's a confirmation for their model, it'll get a lot of press. But if it's something that's like Chalmers, who is a famous person who writes about the philosophy of science, if you find something that disproves a theory, it'll often just get compartmentalized into, this is the reason why it doesn't work in these conditions, but we just don't have to worry about that because it works in all the other areas that we find useful. But then it's like, at what level is this theory actually true? Because this is ad hoc without a criteria of, why do you hold it true here but not here, not elsewhere? Because that's, you're living in contradiction. So it's one of those things that I think is unfortunately a little bit dishonest. So I think all of us are aware of that.
Yeah, it's really sad. Same thing with medicine. They suppress findings, and it's all a business. It seems like everything is like a controlled business where special interests override knowledge, medicine, and everything really. Same with politics. Look at the war situation going on. They're suppressing the evidence on that, and it's like everyone's on the take.
Yeah, with the scientific findings, it might just be you just wait until the the old generation dies out. Like the same way they used to teach like Henkel's embryos and evolution, and phylogeny recapitulates evolution, something about like the developmental stages of humans is a replication of what happened in the evolutionary timeline. Like they used to teach that in like high schools and universities, and now that's like bunk. But I don't know if they ever issued a correction. They just slowly didn't teach it anymore. And like, oh, don't look at the past. Yeah, we had falsifications, fabrications. Palatine Man, Nebraska Man. Yeah, we used to teach that, but don't look at that. We don't teach it anymore. So I guess until they have something to explain the findings, then they probably won't teach it. Until they have something that is like cohesive or coherent in their worldview with their model, like the what is it, the shrinking of the measuring instrument that we had with the original measurements for like the ether and the earth moving and things like this. Until they had an explanation for that, they probably didn't receive too much acceptance by the scientific community. So yeah.
Yeah, imagine an explanation where the equipment shrinks instead of the theory being wrong. Like it's mind-boggling, bro. Like
it's not
it's
empiric.
Like,
it's not scientific. This is unfalsifiable.
it's insane. But yeah, that's the lengths they would go to cover up their story. They'll shrink the measuring mechanism instead of saying, "Oh, we got it wrong." It's crazy.
Even with time itself and like the propagation of light, the fact that they assume purely philosophically or by like mathematical assumption that light is symmetric in its forward and reverse propagation. Like that is an assumption that's not proven. So all of relativity, special and general relativity, is all based upon that. But you can't empirically prove that. So it's one of the it's so strange. Like there's so many levels where it's like, oh, just trust me, bro. This is the way it is. It makes the math look nice.
Yeah, it's a dogmatic system. That's really what it is. Based on peer review, and the peer review system is flawed like heavily, and it'll just your new ideas will just never get through. It's that simple. So you have a new idea that's going to debunk the 5 guys that are reviewing your peers, that it's going to debunk their idea. It's going to cut off their funding. It's going to take away their portion, their $2 million home or whatever. And you think they're going to go with your idea? I mean, you got to be insane to believe that.
That's actually literally the story of Stephen Crothers out of Australia. where he did his PhD thesis on the mathematical impossibility of black holes because it has two singularities at the center with infinite density and at the event horizon. And he worked out mathematically where it's like, this actually doesn't work because the equations blow up. It doesn't harmonize with the other assumptions you have with the rest of modern whatever the modern theory is. And they pretty much prevented him from publishing his PhD. Like no PI wanted to take him because they're all experts in black holes.